One of the things that I want to speak to that I think needs to be profoundly understood by us, your average everyday Americans, is the fact that politicians, most, not all, but most, don't really understand what real American hardship is. How do I know this? Well, the Treasury Department, they put out an estimate in relation to this $600 stimulus payment that they're sending out to people. And their estimate is that the payment that they are sending or have sent in some cases of the $600, that for the people who are deemed the neediest, those who need the most assistance, those Americans, that $600 payment will last them no more than 6 weeks. In a way that they're right, it won't last them more than 6 weeks. But I don't understand how they came up with that estimate, because when we look at data from the last stimulus package, that $1,200 check, we saw that the neediest Americans spent that $1,200 in 1 week. So they spent double what they got this time in 1/6 of the estimated amount of time that they're. How disconnected from reality do you really have to be to think that less money this time, when things are worse, that less money is actually going to help people for a longer, like what? In what reality does it make sense? Look, we have economists who at this point are saying that, we need much more funding. And the question I pose is, are politicians actually listening to them? I mean, they're not listening to their constituents. At the very least, are they listening to the professionals? Now, I do have to kind of preface that with saying that, as I mentioned earlier, you do have some professionals out there, as we've seen with some people in the ears of our president-elect, that are saying, well, look, they don't need stimulus. We don't need the $600. We definitely don't need anything again in the future. But that is not what most economists, most professionals, most people who really understand the minutia of our economy, that is not what they are saying. They are saying, look, we need much more funding, much more money. And I'll close with this. As I was preparing for this segment today, something that came to my mind that I want you to keep in mind was something that I said last year. I said it when they were negotiating the current stimulus package that we're seeing, this $900 billion package. When they were crafting this package, when they're actually before this package came into fruition, and we were at the point where, I don't know if you remember, there was no talk of stimulus checks. It was just, we're going to help the unemployed, but we're not going to provide stimulus checks. Remember, there was an uproar over that, and then stimulus checks actually ended up getting added. But so when we were at that point, and it was a conversation that the politicians were having where they were just looking at just doing unemployment, not doing stimulus. And while I'm thankful that they absolutely decided to do stimulus, if you remember, one of the things that I was saying at that time was that, quite frankly, it was more important that we saw an extension of the unemployment benefits than it was for us to actually see a stimulus check. Not to say that I didn't support it, But when I actually looked at the data that measured the impact of both of those things, a one-time stimulus payment and recurring additional unemployment benefits, there was more support, not just for the individual, but for communities and our economy at large. There was more support when you did the recurring unemployment benefit as opposed to that one-time stimulus payment. Okay? And so I want you to know that one-time stimulus checks, they're generally less potent. They have less of an impact in supporting our national spending. And, we have a consumer-based economy. We don't have an economy without consumers. You can promote business all you want, but if they don't have consumers, it doesn't matter, right? But more so than a one-time stimulus check, our economy is helped, which is what the purpose of stimulus is, when you give that recurring unemployment benefit. And this was noted. You recently had an Oxford economics chief, the U.S. economist Gregory Daco. He released a recent research report that basically touted this information as well. And what we actually need, when you consider not just what I said months ago, but what you see in this report, one of the things that I think that we actually need at this point, if we want to maximize the effectiveness and efficiency of stimulus and not be in the situation where we need perpetual stimulus forever because we can never get things off the ground, is we need not a one-time stimulus check, not extended unemployment benefits. We need a recurring stimulus check for all Americans. Look, this instability and lack of confidence that people have in the economy, in just everything that's going on right now, this is not helping people, and it's not sustainable. If people think that consumer confidence does not matter when you are trying to get this economy back going again, making it great again, you don't understand that in a consumer-based economy, consumer confidence is key. Without it, there is no consumer participation. So we've got a lot of uncertainty going on right now. I mean, think about it. We've got, yes, we have a vaccine, but the distribution of the vaccine is not effective. It's not efficient at the local level or state level. I can't think of anywhere where they are really maximizing effectiveness and efficiency as they move to distribute the vaccines and get it into the arms of Americans. That is an utter crap show. There's a lot of uncertainty around that. The virus itself, we have more than 4,000 Americans dying every day due to contracting COVID. And that virus is mutating like crazy. Here, a lot of us are just kind of getting used to the idea of this UK strain, and then we learn that there's some South African strain. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I was watching the news last night when I was going to bed, and I was hearing about some other sort of strain or how it's mutating. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. All I know is this crap is bad. I don't know how, what? This is not Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is like Mutant Ninja Virus, right? This thing is mutating at a rate simply because it is so pervasive among us. It's mutating at a faster rate than we are typically used to seeing viruses mutate. So we've got that going on. That's causing uncertainty. And as I discussed on Monday's show, we've got some local leaders who are removing mask mandates in their cities and their states. And then don't get me started. We all know about the massacre, the attempted massacre, the insurrection that we saw at the Capitol on the 6th of January, a date that will forever go down in history. And we are hearing now about Republicans who refuse to wear a mask, and they've infected other members, their colleagues, other members of our congressional body. So you have not just congressional leaders, but average, everyday Americans who don't care about infecting themselves or others. All of this stuff creates for an environment of uncertainty. And what we need to do is we need to inject some sort of certainty into the current situation. How do we do that? There are many ways we can do that, but one of the top ways to do it, one way that will ripple and impact a lot of other forms of uncertainty that I just mentioned, is to get recurring monthly stimulus checks to each and every American. It's not hard. It's really as simple as it sounds. Get a recurring monthly check into the hands of Americans, and we can start creating some minimal form of certainty that is needed in our consumer-based economy.